This is the Behind the Line podcast, coming to you from the crazy, chaotic lines of the Pacific Northwest. And this is Pacific Northwest Headline News. Hey, remember that Inflation Reduction Act the Democrats, the Biden administration just passed? The trillions of dollars that are going to reduce inflation in the country? Specifically for energy costs, is what Biden said just a couple days ago in a news conference. Well, you'll never guess what Seattle City Light is proposing. Electricity costs in Seattle could be rising soon. Seattle City Light proposed rate increases of at least 5% for residential customers during a city council hearing on Wednesday. Under the proposal, rates for residential customers would increase an average of 5.7% in 2023 and another 5% in 2024. That's 10% in the next 2 years. That translates to an increase of about $5 or less for monthly bills. Pointing to inflation and rising costs of materials and labor, City Light said the increases are needed in order to deliver reliable, clean, and socially responsible electric services for the next 2 years. Customer bills were not increased in 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, City Light said in its strategic plan. In 2022, City Light increased customer bills by 2.1%, less than the 3.9% approved in the last strategic plan. Rate increases would be lower for those enrolled in the utility discount program, which offers a discount of about 60% on Seattle City Light bills and 50% on Seattle public utility bills to households with incomes at or below 70% of the state median income. For those using the discount program, the monthly bill would increase would be $2 or less under the City Light proposed rate increases. It doesn't matter how much it is. Nobody can afford increases right now. We're all dealing with inflation caused by Democrats and the Biden administration. That bill specifically said it was to reduce energy costs, and yet energy costs are still going up. And I guarantee you the city council will approve this rate increase. And the statewide emergency for COVID in Washington is finally coming to an end. 2+ years, Governor Jay Inslee has announced the upcoming rescission of all remaining COVID-19 emergency proclamations and state of emergency by October 31st. Nearly 3/4 of the governor's 85 COVID-19 emergency orders have already been lifted, and an additional 13 healthcare-related orders will end October 27th. The remaining 10 orders to be lifted on the 31st, including the underlying state of emergency. We've come a long way in the past 2 years in developing the tools that allow us to adapt and live with COVID-19, Inslee said. Ending this order does not mean we take it less seriously or will lose focus on how this virus has changed the way we live. We will continue our commitments to the public's well-being, but simply through different tools that are now more appropriate for the era we've entered. What a man. Though the state's emergency orders are ending, public health leaders continue to emphasize the importance of vaccines and masks in keeping communities safe. Vaccines are therapeutic treatments, and therapeutic treatments are available to prevent hospitalizations and death. However, COVID-19 remains one of the deadliest infectious disease viruses in the United States. The virus kills more than 300 people nationally every day, including more than 10 people a day in Washington state. Governor Inslee's rescission of these remaining emergency orders marks an important transition for the state of Washington. But that does not mean that COVID-19 is not in our state anymore, said Secretary of Health Umar Shah. We must move forward from a pandemic response to adapting our behaviors to coexist with the COVID-19 virus. Through the continued diligence of Washingtonians, combined with access to resources like the Say Yes COVID test program, Washington Notify, and Caravan, we will continue our path to recovery. Washington was the first state in the U.S. with a reported case of COVID-19. Inslee was swift to enact protective measures that have since resulted in one of the lowest per capita death rates in the nation. If the rest of the nation had the same death rate as Washington, some 433,000 lives would have been saved. Inslee was invited to testify before Congress in January to discuss Washington's science-based response, including the importance of responding to the mental and psychological toll of the pandemic. Oh, Inslee is the quarterback that won the game, isn't he? Won the Super Bowl. What a man. Washington legislators also approved significant relief measures to help businesses and households after they put numerous businesses out of business. With the financial impacts of the pandemic, including expanded unemployment benefits, rent assistance, and eviction moratorium, utility assistance, and numerous small business grant and assistance programs. And like I said, put hundreds of businesses out of business, and who knows what the psychological toll on our kids are, and suicides were up, and domestic violence was up, but hey, he did it, right? He beat it. He knows best for all of us in this state. The statewide face covering order issued by the State Department of Health will remain in place for healthcare and long-term care settings, as well as correctional facilities under certain circumstances after the state of emergency ends. The governor is also looking at options to ensure there are protections for workers who choose to wear a mask in their workplace. Okay. Vaccination requirements for healthcare and education workers will end, but employers will continue to be able to require them if they choose. Inslee has already announced that COVID-19 vaccination will remain a condition of employment for most Washington state agencies. I can't express enough how grateful I am for all the healthcare workers, public health teams, and other frontline workers who have helped save thousands of lives during the past 2 years and will continue to support our communities in staying safe and healthy, Inslee said. Wow. This guy cannot be gone from office soon enough. Just for a little perspective on his Americans' daily death toll, over 1,600 Americans die every day from cancer. 142 people die every day from the flu. 130 people die every day from suicide. 256 people die every day in the United States from drug overdoses. 106 people die every day from car accidents. And yet, none of these things garner emergency orders, businesses going out of business, masks, medical conditions to go to work, or anything else. These things seem to be largely ignored, even though these are a daily occurrence in the U.S. I don't know. Look around. You see where our country and state is at after 2 years of this. It's by design. It's not coincidence. They picked this for a reason. They picked this battle. And you see what it's done. Take it for what it's worth. You have eyes to see. And California is showing that it's in the business of buying votes. The state of California is due to start sending out inflation relief checks next month. The program known as the Middle Class Tax Refund will see direct payments being sent out to more than 20 million Californians. The size of the payments will range from between $200 to $1,050. What good is that really going to do you in the overall scheme of things? Fill up your gas tank a couple times. Won't come close to paying your rent. Might get you some groceries, but this is basically nothing. based on factors that include your income and number of dependents. To help you calculate how much you'll receive, the state has created a middle-class tax refund estimator tool that allows you to plug in your information to find out how much you'll get. The payments will be issued one of two ways, either through direct deposit or through debit cards. If you filed your taxes electronically, you can expect a direct deposit. Individuals who make more than $250,000 a year, which in California is middle class, and joint filers or head of households who make more than $500,000 won't qualify to receive the middle class tax refund. Calculations will be based on information provided in the 2020 tax return. The program was initially proposed several months ago as a response to high gas prices. Payments are due to start going out in October, and most people should receive their money by January 2023. Yes, just before voting starts, let's start paying these people for their vote. Because that money, like I said, pretty much amounts to nothing with everything going on right now. Unemployment in Oregon is up. According to the Oregon Employment Department, the number of people unemployed in the state rose to 3.7%. That is a 0.2% increase from July. This is the first increase in Oregon's unemployment rate since April of 2020. The data is on par with national statistics from July and August. Non-farm payroll unemployment grew by 9,300 in August, bringing the state to a record unemployment total of more than 1.9 million jobs in August. That is 2,500 jobs above the pre-pandemic peak reached in February of 2020. I wonder why people won't go back to work. Maybe it's all those government Democrat benefits. Oregon has also announced a cap to 2023 rent increases. Starting January 1st in 2023, landlords in Oregon are allowed to legally increase rents by up to 14.6%. This is a 5% rise from the 9.9% rent increase cap in 2022. The average rent as of Tuesday for a one-bedroom home in Portland is $1,500 a month. In 2023, the same unit could increase to $1,719 monthly if their landlord decides to institute the 14.6 maximum increase. The state's Office of Economic Analysis calculates that allowable increase annually using the Consumer Price Index, which analyzes changes in the price of hundreds of everyday commodities like food and medicine, as well as gas, housing, and vehicles. This index is connected to inflation. The U.S. economy has experienced the fastest inflation in 40 years this year. Thanks, Joe. As the first state in the U.S. to do so, the Oregon legislature implemented a statewide rent control policy in 2019. The statute set rent increases at 7% plus inflation. The rent increase cap only applies to apartments and rental homes that are 15 years or older. Rental housing that is more recent is not covered. Between inflation and the government getting involved in housing and rent control, and you wonder why our economy is on the brink. It's funny, in a Democratic state where they're so concerned about the poor people and the communities of people that have historically been treated poorly, in their own words, and yet they're going to hit them where it hurts the most in rent. They're letting the cap go up because of inflation that Democrats have caused. People are already hurting, having to buy gas and groceries, electricity, and everything else. And yet they're going to go ahead and allow rent to go up. By their own words, $200 a month on average. How many people can afford a $200 a month rent increase right now? But you keep voting for those Democrats because they really care about you. California Governor Gavin Newsome just signed a budget that bestows $25 million to the Berkeley Graduate School of Journalism, presumably in an effort to ensure plenty of favorable news coverage for himself and his party in the years to come. The taxpayer cash giveaway will fund 40 fellowships a year at $50,000 a pop. These fellowships will then be dispersed to newsrooms around the Golden State, where the progressive ideologies of Berkeley is best known for, can flower and grow. Berkeley, the birthing entity of more radical movements than Karl Marx himself, obviously says that the program is not political at all. Of course not. They say the greater good is advanced when we can rely on credible local news coverage that reflects the needs and concerns of all communities. Taxpayer-funded liberal journalism school. Government should not be funding journalism in any way, shape, or form. California on Tuesday launched a taxpayer-funded website, more taxpayer funds, promoting abortion services and resources in the state, even to non-residents. California just launched a brand new resource, a measure for those seeking reproductive care, whether you live here or not, Gavin Newsome said in a recorded video. Abortion.ca.gov lists clinics, links to financial help for travel and lodging, and lets teenagers in other states know they don't need their parents' permission to get an abortion in California. The site also has sections devoted to illegal immigrants in the U.S., saying federal policies keep immigration officials away from healthcare facilities. The website has a map showing the location of 166 abortion clinics statewide. People can click to see an entire map, or they can enter a city and get a list of clinics nearby. It also says people who live in California can get abortion medication by mail, foregoing the need to visit a clinic. Newsome said the website does not track visitors' personal information. Abortion remains legal and protected in California. We have your back, Newsome said. The website is part of the governor's pledge to make California a sanctuary for women seeking abortions in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. The state recently allocated $200 million to strengthen access to abortion in California, including $1 million to build a website promoting the state's abortion services. $1 million website. Anti-abortion advocates have lamented the use of public funds to boost such services, arguing California has other problems more deserving of public funding. No kidding. The website's launch came as Senator Lindsey Graham introduced a bill that would ban abortions nationwide after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Insane in California, as usual. All this taxpayer money that should be going to other services, like that article says, and they're just being wasted. Thank you for listening to the Behind the Line podcast. For more, visit behindthelinepodcast.com. You can also find us on netnewsnetwork.net, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, Gab, Parler, and Truth Social. Please like, share, and subscribe.